Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Invaluable Grace. I was one way and now I'm different. Um, Formalities, you know how it goes. Welcome back to our subscribers. Thank you so much for sharing and commenting and just, liking everything that is shared. I'd like to invite new viewers to please subscribe, click on the notification bell so you are notified of new videos that come out. So, yeah, this week I would like to talk about faithfulness and stewardship. I think it's fitting, that we are drawing closer to the end of the year. It's September and we're going to blink, it's going to be October, November, December, and I think naturally all of us are in like a decline now. We are tapping out, we are burnt out, we are tired, we are anticipating, a well deserved break in December. And it's just a proper go slow, and our resolve and our endurance, our motivation is waning. We're not as amped as we were starting the year, and like I said, I'm sure I speak for the masses when I say all of us, generally around this time of the year, this is how we start feeling. And I've noticed, in the past couple of years anyway, that it's actually as we draw to the end of the year that more starts happening. You would think that the world should shift to our go slow, and things should start calming down, and, everything should be at the pace that we want it to be, at the pace that we are at emotionally, But I feel like there's a level of urgency as the year draws to an end. There's like a fast pace, urgency, and things are like culminating and coming to a head more so than usual. And I don't know, I'm maybe just speaking for me, but I really, really sense that. And like I said, I've seen the trend in the past couple of years. I've felt this way during this time of the year, and lo and behold, things like huge things would happen before the year ends, culminating things that, shift the trajectory of where you're heading into the next year, that kind of set the pace and the tone of the type of year you're going to have next year, and in saying that and in describing that feeling, and just that air of expectancy, as tired as we are, I just want to urge you to remain faithful, remain faithful and to endure. There's a reason why a prize is given at the end of something. There's a reason why there's a reward, attached to something at the end of it, not before and not during, but at the end. Because number one, it's our motivation to keep doing what we're doing. If I think, because we are human and because the nature of man is to always seek a reward and to always get something, for whatever it is that we're doing, in the hope of knowing that we're going to get something, we have a level of more motivation to doing it than if there was no remuneration or no reward whatsoever, right? So with that perception in mind, we hold out a little bit longer and we are motivated to keep going when there is a reward or an incentive of sorts promised to us, and there's a reason for that, because even though, yes, we think we're doing it for the reward, for us, the end game is our focus. What is such a priority is, the endurance in between. And we miss that, or we look past it. It's like almost like a blind side, that we are so focused on what we're going to get that we miss what's happening in between. We miss what's happening during, before. And that's where faithfulness comes from. And because sometimes most of us miss what's happening in between, we actually derail how long it happens. So if we're running a marathon and you are just so caught up on this prize and you just want this prize, it can, in some cases, either motivate you or make you disheartened, because you feel like this race is not ending and your prize is in sight and that's all you want. Or it can help you speed up your momentum. But now, what would happen if that prize was taken away? What would happen if once you got, to the end of the race and you ran the marathon and you finished your kilometers and there was no prize? Would you have lost? Do you think you would have lost? And do you think you would have wasted your endurance and your energy and the effort that went into running that marathon? I don't think so. I don't think it's a waste to endure something that may not have a tangible reward. Because I think that the reward is far greater when it's an internal reward. When it's a reward that helps you endure, that gets your metabolism up and running, that keeps you healthy, right? That keeps you hopeful, that helps your mind, that puts your mind in a great and positive and a healthy mental state. So there's a lot more in doing something, enduring it, something, right, that is exerting, something that, is, that requires a lot of self-control and discipline without a tangible reward than there would be if that's all you were doing it for, right? And I just want to highlight that in particular where faithfulness and endurance is concerned, and also priorities. I think all of those three things are really attached to one thing. If you know what your priorities are, if you prioritize what you need to happen in your life, right? And that comes from a lot of many facets. If you prioritize your goals and your vision and your purpose and where you want to see yourself, you could enjoy anything. It doesn't matter if you didn't see the tangible reward in the time that you want to see it, but you could enjoy anything. If your priorities was your faith, was your belief, you would endure anything. It doesn't matter if, even though you want a physical reward, even though, in the Christian faith, we are promised, or the narrative is prosperity, that if you believe in God and you dedicate and you surrender your life to God, you are promised blessings and riches and, prosperity. But let's just say the prosperity isn't there. You've run the race, you've enjoyed, you've proclaimed your faith, but the prosperity doesn't come. Do you now feel like you've wasted all the effort you've put into your faith? And by effort, I mean, dedication to prayer and reading the word and, just trying to live a righteous life. Does that now become null and void because you don't get the blessings that you want in that moment? Or you are not healed from the sickness that's been afflicting you for years and years and years? Or you do not see the tangible results of all the time and the money, and the input that you've put in your ministries or whatever it is that you do assigned to God? Does that make all of that null and void? And I think these are the questions we need to ask ourselves, that if we prioritize a certain thing, if we remain faithful and endure it, the reward is always there. It's always there. And it's in the endurance, and it's in the persistence. It's in the hope. I think the biggest motivator for anything and for anyone is hope. It's the one thing that counters fear, because it keeps you going. It keeps you running with the hope that you're going to finish the race. That is what keeps you going. It is not the reward in hindsight. I think we believe it will be, but I think it's hope that has the strongest appeal. And then we attach it back to priorities, to vision, and to purpose. And my message here today is, what are we prioritizing? What are we holding on to? And whatever it is that we're holding on to, does it have a beneficial and a positive reward for us? And by positive and beneficial, I don't mean something that is fleeting. I don't mean something that could be taken away from us the next day, could be burnt to the ground, could be stolen, could be lost. I don't mean something that tangible. I don't mean something that volatile. I mean, is the reward worth the endurance if you really align it to an eternal perspective? Not only is it impactful eternally, but is it impactful for you right now where you are? Because if that reward is able to help you endure even once you've won the race, it's a reward that is lasting even after you've won the race, right? You can use it anytime. You can use it in any race. You could use it in any scenario. That is the kind of rewards we need to actually focus on. Those are the kind of rewards we need to seek. Peace is a reward. Peace is a reward that cannot even be bought. There is nothing greater in a world that is filled with so much confusion and turmoil and uncertainty than peace. Faith is a reward. There is nothing better and greater than believing in something pure and good in a world that is corrupt and cruel and broken. But we cannot access that. We cannot naturally have those two things because they come from a source outside of this very broken world. So by virtue of saying you want to believe in God, you want to submit and surrender your life to Christ, you were given those two rewards. You were given faith and you were given peace. That is not done in your own strength. You cannot give yourself peace. You lack it in the package that you are. We lack it. We cannot give ourselves faith. It's a gift, right? It's a reward. And the more you endure, the greater it becomes. Can you imagine having faith that is limitless? Having faith that doesn't shake you. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Can you imagine having peace in a situation that shouldn't be peaceful? It seems almost comical, or rather, crass for you to be peaceful in an unpeaceable moment. But that is a reward. That is a reward that you may not be able to touch, but is lasting. Those are the kind of rewards we need to seek. And those rewards can only come from prioritizing the one who gives them to you. We've ascertained we cannot give them to ourselves. So if you want to have long-lasting results, long-lasting rewards, eternal rewards, stay close to the one who gives them, and that is God. And He will get you through anything. But our responsibility, we also have a responsibility here. We're accountable to remaining steadfast, to remaining faithful. And faithfulness means sticking it out, seeing it through. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter who says what. It doesn't matter if you get anything out of it, but you're going to stick it through because your priority is important to you. And that's why I say it starts first with the priority. It trickles down to steadfastness and faithfulness. Hope comes from that. And faith and peace is a result of that. That is the reward. So what are we prioritizing? Are we prioritizing our jobs? Are we prioritizing, material? Cars, houses? Are we prioritizing our family? Our children, our husbands, our wives? Are we prioritizing our gifts? Because ask yourself this, if those things are taken away from you, what are you left with? What are you left with? Definitely not peace, and definitely not faith. So what are you left with? So why not prioritize the one who can't be taken away from you? The one who will never leave us, never. It doesn't matter how much we reject him. He can never leave us. He promised to be with us until the end. He promised to remain and abide in us, right? And by virtue of sticking and prioritizing him, everything else that is a priority to you, he prioritizes too. He prioritizes too, right? It's a win-win situation. If you find time in your day to prioritize God the way that we need to, the way that we should, everything else falls into place the way that it needs to, in a way that will give you peace, faith, and joy. So who are you prioritizing today? What are you prioritizing today? And why as well? I think the motivation is also so important. Why do we do the things that we do? Is it because we only have a reward in sight? Or is it because we want to and hope is our motivator through it all? That is something that we also need to introspect and ask ourselves. Because God knows our intentions. He knows our motives. We may think we are hiding them, but He knows, right? And your life is a result of what your motive is. The fruit that you bear is a result of what your motive is. So I urge you today to run that marathon, run that race. Yes, knowing that there's a reward, but not allowing that reward to be your only motivation. But knowing that you are receiving a reward while you're running, not just at the end. And that reward is God. That reward looks like endurance, faithfulness, perseverance, joy, peace, commitment, and discipline. And all of those things are rooted in Christ. To prioritize Him. Go with God, guys. I hope this message blessed you today.